herring with a herring. Welcome to another episode of Two Beers and a Board Game. Today, there's another murder.
A murder most foul.
Yes. An old-timely murder. We're bringing you Murder at Blood Mansion, fresh off a Kickstarter. It is a 2 to 6 player game. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes, which I would say is probably accurate because I won the first game in 6. We didn't time it, but it was real quick.
Right.
It is a social deduction-ish style game.
It's definitely not as much social deduction as I thought it was going to be, rather than trying to get the right card combination in your hand and saying, ha ha!
Yes, that's really
I know who it is, or poof, later dudes.
Right, yeah, so it is, you're trying to figure out, all of the players get a character, and then one of those characters is, in fact, a murderer. However, nobody at the table knows who the murderer is.
Correct. Not even the murderer.
Not even the murderer themselves does not know who it is.
Doesn't make a lot of logic, but
no,
I digress.
It does not. You do know what the murder weapon was, and that's one of the keys.
And who was murdered.
And who was murdered.
Right.
For whatever reason. We care, though. We care about murder victims.
We do care.
Okay. We do. We really do. Please don't kill us, Internet. Then we'll be murder victims. Wow, that went in a really weird circle. Okay, so everybody's going to get a handful of cards, and one of the weird things, and probably one of the things that I struggle with this game, is that there are weapon cards, there are suspect cards, there are action cards, and then there are, what do they call them, resource cards?
Guilt cards?
Guilt cards. So there's 4 different types of cards. Now, each one of these cards has a different colored backing. Right? And they all have the letter, either an A or a G or a W or an S.
And they're different colors too.
Yeah, to let you know what kind of card it is. And those all get shuffled together in one big deck.
So you can distinctly see what your opponents have, at least what type of cards they have.
Which is like a first red flag for me, because that just seems weird to know what type of cards other people have.
I get the idea of doing something like that, so you know what to do, but that also takes a little bit of the mystery out of the game.
Well, I feel like the problem with that is like, say the cards the actions all do different stuff. You can skip turns, and some of them say like they force you to make another player give you all of their weapon cards, right? That takes away the, I'm going to play that card on you, but you don't have any weapon cards, so I just wasted my card.
Right, like those sort of things need to be in games.
So it's just not there.
To make it feel like more like Goldfish.
Right.
Do you have any weapons? No, go fish. You know, it's like there's no mystery in the murder mystery of that aspect of what your opponents are doing and what they have in their hands.
Exactly. Because you know. So if there's 5 people at the table and only 2 of them have blue weapon cards facing you, you know who to use those cards on.
Exactly.
And so that's a little weird.
There is also a thing where it says you get to choose what card type you take from your opponent, or they give you one. Or you can choose one at random.
Yeah,
which takes the whole randomness out of it, because I'm going to randomly take your suspect card.
Right. There's a card that says, take a random card from, let's say it's Charlie, and I want to take a random card from Charlie.
Right.
It can't be random, because the cards on the back are different. If he only has one red suspect card, and I want that red suspect card, even if he shuffles up his hand and puts them out on the table or fans them out, I'm just going to take the red suspect card.
That's all there is to it.
Other than that, it's, you'd have to, I guess, shuffle them up and then just take the top one or something like that. It's just, I don't know, there's a couple of, in my opinion anyways, a couple of weird gameplay aspects.
Right.
The murderer, the person that is the murderer, is shuffled into the deck with 9, I think it is, red herrings.
Some number of red herrings, I forget what it is. I think it might be 6. No, 9. Some number of red herrings, which actually is a picture of a red herring. We made that realization.
That guy!
We made that realization in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, it's just a dead end, so it's like you're following a red herring and whatever.
Right.
And then halfway into our second game, he's actually a red herring! Ha ha ha! It was funny, and that was kind of my favorite part of the game, that the red herring is a red herring.
Yes.
I love that.
I think it's cool. So the whole goal of the game is you need to get the card that has the picture of the murderer on it.
Right.
You don't actually have to keep that card to win the game.
You just need to know who that person is.
Yes.
So in a scenario the other night, my character could look at someone's hand, and I knew that Frozie's wife Dawn had the correct suspect in her hand. So I just looked at her hand. I knew who it was.
Right.
At that point, all you need to do then is acquire the weapon and have 30 points worth of guilt, and then you can accuse them and win the game.
And win the game, yes. And the weapon is, you know which weapon it is.
Right. That is revealed at the beginning of the game, so you know which weapon you need to work towards finding.
Right. So it's just essentially drawing into that. I will tell you, the first game of this we played on our initial 5 cards. I think each player gets 5 cards, it was. On the initial 5 cards, I was dealt the suspect, and Caleb, this guy, was dealt the weapon.
So, yeah, that's why that game took took little time.
Almost no time.
Everything that was needed in the game was already revealed at some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. All I had to do was I got to my 30 guilt points in my hand. Once I had those 30 guilt points, I already had a card that let me steal the weapon. And so on my next turn, I stole the weapon, and bam, it was done. Because I knew Caleb had the weapon. And that was the end of that. So that game went really quick. Our next game...
Our second game, definitely, we almost went all the way through the deck before someone was able to actually acquire the weapon. Everybody at the table knew who the murderer was, including the murderer. But...
And we all knew where the weapon was.
We all knew where the weapon was. So, but we kept on running into slam doors, which is like a cancel or a nope, or like you're not taking my card. That it prolonged enough that we had to keep on going through until that person with the weapon that didn't have a slam door finally had the weapon stolen. I'm like, aha, I win.
Ooh, did you win that game?
I did win that game.
Yeah. Okay, so the other way to win is if you are the murderer, right? You have to first figure out that you're the murderer.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Which again seems logically a flaw to the game. I like the idea. Logically, it just doesn't seem right.
Yes, that is definitely a suspension of disbelief thing, because obviously if you were the murderer, you would... I would hope you'd know you were the murderer. So, not knowing is a little weird. But in any case, when you're playing, you don't know. But the murderer has a slightly different win condition. They have to know they're the murderer.
Right. Have the weapon.
And
then on the guilt cards, there are methods of transportation.
Yes, like a hot air balloon.
A train.
Stagecoach, stuff like that.
If you have 2 guilt cards with the same figure on it and have the weapon, then you can, on your turn, say, I'm escaping, and you win the game yourself.
You win the game. Nobody ever did that on our game. We only played a couple of games. The Kickstarter edition, I guess, I think I paid $25 plus $5 shipping.
It was the deluxe version with the wooden chips and all that kind of cool
stuff. It got
stuff.
wooden chips. There was a much more expensive version of this game that came with a wooden box, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't spring for that, because it was literally like an extra $75.
Holy smokes.
Just for the wooden box. However, again, doing prep for the video, Charlie found something interesting.
That this game is already on Amazon. We unboxed it and put the video up literally the day after we got it from Kickstarter.
Yep.
When I was editing the video later that day, Amazon had 10 copies on sale for the same price.
Yes.
The deluxe version, in fact, too. So, I mean, it's kind of a...
In fact, it'd be $5 less if you had
Prime, because then you're getting free shipping. So, like, that's kind of annoying, but, I understand. They probably ship all out at the same time and it lands in Amazon's warehouse.
I mean, I imagine. There were some delays. This game was probably 4 or 5 months late. Because of some box designs and stuff like that they were trying to work through, which is fine. Again, I would always rather a developer take a little extra time to make sure they get things right than rush a game out the door, even though at the time I'm like, where's this game? I really
You were saying I should be getting this, this should be in the mail.
Yeah,
for months.
And then it finally showed up. And, I mean, I like it. I'm probably going to give it, as far as a rating... 5 O'Clock Shadow, just 3 out of 5, right?
3 out of 7.
3 out of 7, my bad, 3 out of 7. 5 O'Clock Shadow. I enjoyed the game. I just don't know if, with the amount of like these deduction games around, if somebody was like, hey Frozy, which one, let's do a deduction game, which one do you want to play? I don't know if I'd ever get to, I'd pick this.
Right. I'm going to echo it. I'm also going to say 5 O'Clock Shadow. It's a fun game. I have some struggles with the logic flaws. How the murderer doesn't know they're the murderer. They have to discover themselves. Like, whoops, I guess I did it in my sleep,
Right.
It's a fun game. I foresee it being played. We played it a few times. It's probably going to sit in our shelf for several months.
Then we'll probably pull it again.
And it's probably going to be one of those, we just played a really heavy game. This is a quick in-between game, just some card games. Gets a little bit of competitive nature going again. And then it's going to sit again. And
they've got 9+ on this game. And it's very easy to learn.
It's a glorified sort of Go Fish sort of thing, where you just need to acquire a certain card hand, and then you can win the game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a family game. I know it's Murder at Blood Mansion or whatever, but as long as
murder themes aside, the concept of the game, I would say kids could probably pick it up.
Kids could play this.
Just Murder and then Blood Mansion potentially is just a theme I wouldn't want with my children.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I don't know.
Today's day and age, there's worse things they could be seen, but I digress.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to play it, it's worth playing. Again, we both like all kinds of different games.
Right.
And we like playing new games, and I don't want to just bash this game into the ground.
No.
It's not a bad game. It's just not it's not a staple. It's not
going to be, to name drop Secret Hitler.
Exactly.
We've been playing that for years, and it's still almost as fun every time, depending on the group of people you have.
Right. Or Werewolf. It's not that caliber of a game.
Right. It's fun.
But it's not very expensive
at $25, it's not a huge investment, but if you have an option for a friend to buy that, let them buy that and play it that way.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate you watching the video, guys. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We also have a first impressions video up for this if you want to see us unbox it.
It is up.
So check that out if you want to.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and Facebook page as well.
Yep, we've got all of those things up. So go ahead and hit us up there, and then if there's anything, if you've played the game, you have any questions or comments about it, leave those down in the comments below. We try to get back to everybody that comments on our videos. So we appreciate that greatly, guys. Have a good one.